One of the big clashes we're all looking forward to this weekend in the Rugby World Cup is that game on Sunday in Pool B between South Africa and Scotland. In this video, I'm going to preview that game. Hello and welcome to Inside Rugby. My name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan that's living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico, and we've got another gorgeous day here in the Mexican Riviera. Now, what we're looking forward to this weekend is a whole lot of fantastic rugby, and in this video I'm going to be talking about that Pool B game between Scotland and South Africa being played in Marseille on Sunday. And first of all, the temperature for that game is expected to be around 29 degrees Celsius, so we're going to have some energy sapping rugby this weekend, and it's going to be really interesting to see how these big forwards in particular are able to get around the field and maintain their presence for 80 minutes. So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to be looking for in this game. But this game's a really interesting encounter, one of the most exciting games I think of this weekend. And of course, the Springboks are coming off that great win against the All Blacks, that historic victory at Twickenham a couple of weeks ago. And they're going to be very, very buoyed because before that they had that great win over Wales. And the Springboks are going to go into this Rugby World Cup with a lot of confidence and, more importantly, I think a lot of momentum. On the other hand, Scotland had a bit of a struggle against Georgia in the first half. They came good in the second half, running away with that game by 33 points to 6. And Gregor Townsend's got a very good squad going into this year's Rugby World Cup. A squad that has a lot of depth, and I think that's going to be the main difference for Scotland in this year's Rugby World Cup. How far can they go? Well, I've made a couple of videos on that, so check those out and see what you think. Now, a lot of you on my channel have been picking the Springboks to win this year's Rugby World Cup, and it's going to be an interesting first off encounter because it's going to give us another gauge of where the Springboks are at. And as a result, they've picked a very, very good team, I think, for this encounter. A team that gives them a lot of pace out wide, a lot of try scoring potential, but it sticks true to their strength of forward play and power up front. So I think the Springboks are bringing a very, very powerful unit to this game to take on Scotland. So why don't we have a look at the two teams, and I'll make a few comments around how I think this game is going to play out on Sunday in Marseille. So first of all, let's start off the Springboks and have a look at their back line. And at fullback, they've got Damian Willemse, and can't wait to see him play another game at fullback. Really like him, and I think Jacques Nienaber and Rassie Erasmus are now looking at maybe using Willie Leroux as an impact player off the bench, and that's not a bad idea as well. But I think Willie will be there for the more important games depending on how Damian Willemse plays at fullback. So it's going to be good to see him this weekend. And then on the wings, we've got Kurt Lee Arendse and we've got Cheslin Colby. So two speedsters out wide, both having huge potential to score tries. And if those guys get the ball, they can make something happen from anywhere on the field of play. So looking forward to seeing them play. Okay, looking at the centres for the Springboks, and they've got Jesse Kriel and Damien Dealande in there. And I think this is a great combination. They're going to be good both on offense and defense. They've got the ability to break through the Scottish line, and they've also got the potential to put in smart kicks behind the Scottish defence, and look for that. I think that's going to be a factor in this game this weekend to keep the Scottish team turning around, chasing the ball back into their own territory and putting them under a lot of pressure in the Springboks set play. I think that's going to be a strategy that the Springboks use in this game. Then moving on to the number 10 and 9 combination, we've got Manie Libbok and we've got Faf de Klerk coming into this game. And of course, Manie Libbok, his kicking, his penalty kicking in conversion kicking is going to be a very important factor throughout this Rugby World Cup. So I'm sure that Jacques Nienaber is going to be looking for a high percentage of kick conversions for Manie Libbok in this game. But I have been very impressed with Manie Libbok in general play for the Springboks. I think he's been managing games very well that he's been playing in, and he's really growing into a comprehensively good number 10 for the Springboks. Jacques Nienaber's decided to go with just two substitution backs in this game against Scotland, and that's Grant Williams and Willie Leroux I'm a real fan of Grant Williams. I just want to see him playing more, and it just shows how difficult it is to get into this Springbok starting lineup. So yeah, Grant Williams and Willie LaRue both going to bring something really good when they come on for the Springboks, being able to speed up the speed of play if that's going to be required, and if they have to chase a game, then those two are real impact players as well. So really good combination there for the Springboks on the bench. Now let's have a look at the forwards that the Springboks are putting out against Scotland on Sunday in Marseille. And starting off at number 8, we've got Jasper Wiese, and he's coming back in for Duane Vermeulen, who started against the All Blacks. Nothing lost there. Wiese's a fantastic number 8, and we've got Vermeulen on the bench anyway, so it's going to be extremely good for the Springboks in the back. And then the flankers, we've got Peter Steph de Toy, and we've got Sia Kolesi. Captain Courageous is back, and what can you say about this guy? He's been playing phenomenal rugby since he's been back from that horrendous injury, and you can just see what he brings to the Springboks team in terms of leadership, comradeship and direction, and this is what a true leader is all about. So great to see Kolesi back in this game for the weekend. Then in the locks we have Mostert and Etzebeth. Great combination for the Springboks, plenty of ball winning potential, and expect them to be stealing some lineouts from Scotland in this particular game. I think that's an area that the Springboks are going to look for dominating Scotland, is obviously in the set pieces, and I think in the lineouts they can do some damage, those two. And then in the front row we've got the trio that's always reliable when it comes to Stephen Ketzoff, Malcolm Marx and Frans Maherba. And you know, what a tight three these guys are, and proven it over game after game after game. So the Springboks are starting off with an extremely strong team, and as I said, they're really respecting Scotland in this game by putting what I think is one of their better teams out onto the park. As far as the forwards go on the bench for the Springboks, we've got the bomb squad: Bonami, Ox Nashe, Trevor Nyankane, RG Schneenem, Van Staden, and also Duane Vermeulen. So yeah, there we go, the Springboks, extremely strong team going out to play against Scotland. And I'm kind of getting over calling the Springboks A or B teams. I think it doesn't matter what team they put out, they're going to give anybody in this year's Rugby World Cup a hard time. So looking at the Scottish team for this game, and starting off in the backs, we've got Blair Kinghorn at fullback. I really like this guy. He's big, he's fast, he's elusive as well for his size, and I think he's starting to also cement that 15 jersey for himself in this Scottish team. On the wings we've got Van der Merwe and we've got Darcy Graham, and I've probably said in previous videos I like both of these guys. They're both very fast, they're strong. Darcy Graham brings that fleet of foot that can beat any defence on any given day, and he's very good when it comes to that kick over the top and chasing a ball against the defence running back towards their own goal line. So watch out for Darcy Graham to do something really, really good in this game. Then we move to the centres for Scotland, and we've got Hugh Jones and Tuipulotu, and both of them are playing very, very good rugby at this point of time. And I like the way Hugh Jones is developing into an all-round player. I think he's really good in defence as well as attack, and he brings something different to the Scottish line that can beat any defence in the world. Tuipulotu for me has to do a little bit more in terms of taking the ball up and trying to get through the line. I think he's very good at taking the ball up to the line, but I think he's got the skill sets to go further, so I'd like to see him develop his game in that area. But in Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones, Scotland's got a very, very good midfield for this game. And then moving into the halves, we've got Finn Russell, of course, who's the talisman for Scotland and their leader around the field. He's been doing really, really good in the warm-up games. Of course, he's great at making those strategic kicks count. He can read a game very good, and he can also set that Scottish backline through gaps and create new running angles, which I think is going to be really important if they want to beat this Springboks defence on Sunday. So watch out for what Finn Russell gets up to. I think a lot of this outcome of this game is going to be resting on his shoulders and what kind of game he's able to manage against the Springboks. And then joining Finn Russell in the halves is Ben White at halfback, and White is going to be very much responsible for getting the Scottish backline away, and I think that's where Scotland may have some troubles this weekend. I think the back three from the Springboks are going to be all over Ben White. I think they're going to be giving him a very hard time, and I think Scotland are going to find it hard to get clean ball from the back of set pieces. So I think the Springboks are going to go out for a disruptive strategy against Ben White and Finn Russell, put them under a lot of pressure, and see how they basically deal with that. So expect to see that happen from the Springboks this weekend. So that's the run-on backs for the Scottish team this weekend, but their backs substitutions are Smith, Redpath and Price, and of course Price is the reserve halfback. So very, very good Scottish backline there. They've got a lot of pace, they've got a lot of ingenuity when it comes to creating opportunities, but the big question for me is, can they get through the Springboks defence, and what strategies are they going to use? Are we going to see a bit of kicking in this game from Scotland to be able to turn the Springboks around and send them back into their own territory? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that's the way Scotland are going to take on South Africa in this particular match? Now let's have a look at the Scottish forwards and see who Gregor Townsend's put in there to take on this mighty Springbok pack. The back three for Scotland in this game: Dempsey, Darge and Ritchie, and a very good back three indeed. Very impressed with Jack Dempsey as a player and looking forward to see what he can do in this Rugby World Cup. Are they up to the standard of the Springboks back three? I don't think so, but I'm here to be proven wrong, so let's see what happens. So a really good back three. Expect Rory Darge to get into it. This guy scores tries as well, and be interested to see how he goes against the Springboks pack on Sunday. Now the locks for Scotland: Gilchrist and Gray, and I think this is going to be an area where Scotland's going to be challenged against Mostert and Etzebeth, being two talisman for the Springbok pack. So it's going to be interesting to see how Gilchrist and Gray go against the Springboks tight five. They're going to have to win some clean line out ball to give Scotland any chance, and they're going to have to hold the scrum up again for Scotland as well against the Springboks. So I think the forward encounter is going to be huge in this game, as we would expect when any Springbok pack is going out there. So Gilchrist and Gray are going to have to really step up and play a good game. They're both capable of it, but they need to bring their A game against the Springbok pack if Scotland's going to have any chance in this match, as far as I'm concerned. Now for Scotland in the front row, they've got Fagerson, that's Zane Fagerson, Turner and Schumann. And whilst this is a good front row, I don't think it can compare to the Springboks front row. So Scotland are going to have some troubles, I think, in the scrummaging department. But again, I hope I'm proven wrong. But I think the Marks, Kitstoff and Maherba trio is going to do the job on the Scottish front row. But I'm here to be proven completely wrong about that. So let me know what you think of this Scottish pack. Do you think they can take it to the Springboks? Or do you think this is an area of the game where the Springboks are going to be too strong for Scotland? Interested to hear your comments on this one. Now let's have a look at the reserve forwards that Gregor Townsend's put in for Scotland in this game, and this is going to be the bench coming on for Scotland at some time during this game. And we've got Cherry, Beatty, WP Neal, Cummings and Matt Fagerson. So a good bench, and I'm sure they're going to inject something in the game. I just can't help but think though that the Springboks have got a stronger, more powerful, more dynamic option available to them off the bench this weekend. So South Africa is currently ranked number 2 in the world. Scotland is number 5. And how is the Springboks going to win this game? So the Springboks, I think, are going to use obviously their power and strength at set piece to win good clean ball. And then they're going to use that back line that we've already seen throughout the warm-up games is extremely dangerous. And in Arendse and Colby on the wings, they've got try-scoring potential. And also expect to see Damien Willemse come into the back line a lot in this game and have a big presence in it, because I think that Jacques Nienaber has put Willemse into this team to show his running capabilities and setting this back line for the Springboks off in all sorts of different directions. So an example of that would be when Finn Russell does a lot of kicking to the fullback position. You can see Willemse running that ball back and creating opportunities for the Springboks to go into an offensive position. I also think Manie Libbok's going to be critical in this game. I think he's going to manage the South African forwards around the field and give them plenty of opportunity to put the Scottish pack under pressure. So see for a bit of kicking from Manie Libbok, particularly in the first set of play. And if the Springboks don't come out and try to run it immediately at the Scottish team, I think it's going to be a strategic kicking match in that first 10 or 15 minutes to set up that pressure that the Springboks are going to want. So how and can Scotland win this game against the Springboks? Well, I don't think they can. I think over the course of 80 minutes, the Springboks have basically got it covered to take care of Scotland. And I say that with a lot of respect for the Scottish team, because I think they're a really, really great team. But it just goes to show how good I think the Springboks team is. And over the course of 80 minutes, with that bench that's going to come on for the Springboks, and with the amount of speed they've got out wide, I think they can score a lot of points against the Scottish team. And I think that's going to be the Scottish problem. They're going to be going backwards more than they're going forwards. They're going to be put under a lot of pressure. And I think instead of Finn Russell being used as an attacking force strategically, I think he's going to be put under a lot of pressure defensively. So watch for that in this particular game. But I think the Springboks are going to be able to win enough clean ball from the set pieces, power over the top of the Scottish forwards, and send those mighty backs away on all sorts of attacking runs into the Scottish territory. But I'm not writing Scotland off completely, and I think if they're within touch of the Springboks at half time, we've seen how good Scotland is over the past years of coming back in the second half in games. And I think if they get a sniff of this one, we'll see it again from Scotland in this particular match. And the fact that it's being played on neutral ground for both of these teams may have something in Scotland's favour as well. So I think if Scotland's within 10 points at half time and they feel they've got an opportunity like they did against France, they could come back into this game. But I suspect that the Springboks are going to have too many points on them by half time, and they're going to keep the pressure on when they bring their bench on. So let me know in the comments what you think of this game. It's going to be a very exciting counter in Marseille on Sunday. Pool B of the Rugby World Cup is the pool that we're all looking at with a lot of excitement, some really big games. I think we've got to stop talking about the crazy draw in this World Cup. We've got what we've got to enjoy it, and no matter what, we're going to see some fantastic rugby. You should stick around here on Inside Rugby with me, and the way to do that is to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and get ready for what is going to be an extraordinary weekend of rugby from this year's Rugby World Cup. So let me know in the comments what you think about what I've shared in this video. Tell me about the two teams, and if you're from South Africa, have they put the right team on the pitch this weekend to play Scotland? And adversely, has Scotland put the right team out to play the Springboks? Interested to hear from all the Scottish viewers on my channel. Okay, I'm going to go and get ready now for that All Black game against France, and we're going to head into an amazing weekend of rugby. I'll see you again very soon. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and enjoy your rugby this weekend. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. See you soon.